Hey, I'm Fox.
And I'm Zoe.
And we were going to review Batman Begins, but you know what? We did you one better. I'm constantly forgetting the name of this movie.
That's understandable. It's not really like a memorable movie.
I'll be honest, this whole Bat trilogy, I just completely forget which one is which.
That's very fair, and I think that does come down to The Dark Knight, but he's kind of warped the other movies around it. You like the first movie, Batman Begins, was interesting, but it was just kind of like, it's just like a movie. It's just like a fun little movie.
It feels like its own thing. In my mind, I don't even consider it
right.
the first in a trilogy. It's just its own thing.
Well, The Dark Knight had this cultural effect.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about The Dark Knight when we watch that. It's going to be in a bit. But
we can't have too much Batman at once. I will die.
Yeah, I won't. I'm a slut for Batman specifically. So we'll talk about The Dark Knight in more detail when that comes around. But it did kind of suck out all of the wind from Batman Begins, and then The Dark Knight Rises had such high expectations to me that it never could hit. It's not a good movie in its own right, but it was worse because of the expectations put on it, both in terms of its planning and just people's responses to it. It just didn't. There was no way people were going to enjoy that.
This movie, Batman Begins, it was good. I enjoyed it. That's very difficult for me to say about superhero movies, but they used to be good.
Yeah, it's you can see a bit of the through line from Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises of the style of Christopher Nolan movies and the idiosyncrasies and issues he has with every movie he directs. It's a little too long. The pacing's not quite there.
Oh, it's just a little too long.
Yeah, this one's better. This one's better than Dark Knight Rises, and it's better than most other Christopher Nolan movies in this regard.
I mean, at least it's not The Batman, which is apparently almost 3 hours long.
Right, yeah, right under 3 hours. Though it's also not Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was 4 hours.
It was 4 hours, but it felt like 5 days.
Yeah. Eventually, I think we'll eventually talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think we have to at some point. Because that's such a fascinating thing. Because that's one of the few movies that did get a full rewrite, remake thing.
Yeah.
And it turned out into something truly fascinating. And I want to be very clear here. When I say fascinating, I don't necessarily mean good. Those are two very different things. Now, I enjoy the movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I have a lot of problems with it, but I enjoy it.
I don't know how I feel about it.
We'll talk. That's that's down the line. But going back to Batman Begins.
Yes, Batman Begins. Brucey boy.
It's a fun, wacky romp. It's the wackiest you're gonna get from this trilogy, which is sad. Because I say it's wacky, it is a little. It's not as wacky as it should be. When you have the premise of a guy who is just dressed as a weird bat and is flying around solving crimes and beating people up, and then he has a sassy butler and he's fighting a pun-obsessed twink and a weird clown and a guy and a just really bad therapist and a guy who is also a shark. A guy who's also a crocodile. There is a guy who's also a shark in DC, but he's more of a Flash villain.
Right.
But there's a guy who's also a crocodile.
Love him.
Love him.
Personally.
He's great. Best portrayal of Killer Croc. Look up the Arkham games. He's great in those.
Even better, the Batman animated series, best version of Croc.
Well, okay, let me pull up. Let me pull up Killer Croc in the Arkham series because I think it would be close contender, especially for you because I know you're a monsterfucker.
Oh, I mean, I'll probably want to fuck him. Yeah, no, there's a lot of comic book villains I shouldn't want to fuck, but I do.
This is how Killer Croc starts in the Arkham games.
Beefy boy,
Big
look
old
at
boy.
those teeth.
Big old boy, big old scaly boy. And then
I'd hop up on that cloaca, like.
I'm
I don't know what Croc
not gonna
feels.
tell you whether that's right or not. I don't want to think about that.
I don't.
Give me a good.
I imagine because like they're reptiles, so they'd have that situation going on.
He's also a
hot.
guy. He was born a guy. He just has a mutation.
Yeah, but like the mutation mutated his face. I'm sure it's going to mutate his junk.
Well, depends on how much of a furry you are.
Scaly.
It's a little bit dark, but this is him in the last Arkham game, Arkham Knight.
Look at that fucking unit.
He's got a big ass tail.
I'm into it. I love tails.
Yeah. So and that's like specifically his mutations has been getting worse over the course of the games.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I eventually need to play.
They're good games. I enjoy them quite a bit.
We keep getting off the topic of like one movie that we really like.
Right. So, Batman Begins. Well, the reason why I brought this up is that like the premise of Batman and in Batman's Rogues Gallery is wacky, and you people should fucking remember that. You forget that every fucking movie.
Bring back the bat nipples, goddammit.
I liked the Gotham show because the villains are wacky and the Gotham
I like the
show.
wackiness of the show. There's a lot of
We have Twink Riddler. Finally. Thank God. We have Scrawny Penguin. I like that.
It's very interesting. Really good actors, both of them.
I see Penguin in his most recent in the movies and in the Gotham show. I'm kind of split. I could take him either way, but I like it. You got crazy ass Hugo Strange. You know, you've got fucking Mr. Freeze just going around with an ice gun killing literally anybody who he comes across. Like, it's great.
Love him.
It's great. You gotta embrace the wackiness because it's fucking Batman. And the reason why I bring this up, Batman Begins did the cardinal sin, which was it pushed Batman to be less wacky. And there's still some remnants. And Dark Knight definitely sealed this coffin. But you can tell they're pushing away from wackiness. They're pushing away from the fun. And that was horrible. Because that was the example that is used for every fucking Batman media ever fucking since.
I mean, like, honestly, this movie shaped the whole landscape for superhero movies coming after it.
Yeah, because that and then Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight was a cultural phenomenon, and then Superman had to be gritty now, and then even the fucking CW shows started with Arrow, which was extremely gritty, and then they became Flash and Legends of Tomorrow leaned more wacky, and I'm happy with that. But like, it was like every superhero thing had to be dark and serious, death and sadness and grief, and can't be at all silly in this thing when you're fucking fighting clowns.
Dressed in tight spandex, again dressed as a giant bat.
Yeah.
You know, the peak of seriousness.
Oh, totally.
And
fucking serious.
I understand that, like, this movie has such a tonal shift because of things like Batman Forever, or, you know, the previous Batman movies, where, who was it? Jim Carrey is the Riddler?
Yeah.
In that fucking spandex with the question marks.
Yeah.
Iconic, but not in a good way.
Yeah, and then Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face.
Yes.
Where Two-Face, the Two-Face half was, like, purple for some reason. which I know is kind of like how he looks in the comics, but like it's much better done in the comics, where like everything is bright and colorful, but like it was the dark, bright and colorful. It didn't really work that well in the movie. Didn't translate.
Yeah. But so, like, I do see, and I do think you can have wacky and, treat it seriously.
Yeah.
Look at, again, Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Batman Beyond.
That's a very, very easy thing to kind of key into. I mean, obviously, these are animated shows, so you're able to be a little bit more wacky just in general because it's animated. But you can take a lot of cues from this, and I think it's really important that we preserve that kind of like good vibe at the end of the day. Because the issue you have when Batman's no longer wacky, when Batman's no longer goofy, then you have situations like The Dark Knight Returns. Then you have situations like The Killing Joke, which I know people say are good. I don't hate them. But they set this weird precedent for tone and themes where, like, once Batman's no longer wacky, he turns into an authoritarian who beats up mentally ill people for fun. And that's not good.
Yeah, no, it has a lot of gross implications, and I will say, to this movie's credit, it kind of puts a little toe in the water with these issues.
Yeah.
But then, takes that toe out at the end of the day and doesn't jump in and swim.
Right,
like
they thought the water was too hot, so they pulled it out, and then they left the pool and then never came back. It was
Cowards.
It's very sad. And I want to clarify, because I know me criticizing The Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke will give me crucified online. They're beautiful. They're written very well. They're very expressive. I love both of them. But they got problems. And the authors of those comic books will agree that they have some major fucking problems. You don't want to ignore that. You don't want to turn a blind eye. And it's an issue. It's an issue. You gotta address issues. Anyways, properly back to Batman Begins. This is the first step towards gritty realism, and it doesn't work. And the wacky parts are fun, and we loved them both. Yeah. Scarecrow is great.
Fucking love him. Crane, he's good. He is...
Every scene he's in,
mwah, beautiful.
So good. He fucking makes a pun before setting Batman on fire. I love it.
10 out of 10.
It was amazing.
Give me more puns, goddammit.
The problem with going towards gritty realism is, like, every time Crane's not on screen, the movie gets substantially worse.
Yeah.
Bruce, pretty good, but and Gordon's great in this movie as well.
Yeah, Gordon is really good.
And he's a good thing. He's just kind of like taking what little victories he can. I like that for him. But then you have characters like Rachel Dawes.
I liked her in the beginning, but then as it went on, I remembered why I didn't like her.
Yeah, she becomes a worse character over the course of the film, and then you realize that her whole purpose is to be fridged, which is real bad.
Right.
Because I don't know if you guys know this. I had to look this up. Rachel Dawes is not a comic book character. She was made for these movies, which means that she was made explicitly to die. Which...
I mean, I guess at least she didn't die in this movie.
Yeah. But,
I mean, I don't know. Was she made specifically to die in the next one? Or was that decided, okay, she needs to die because people don't like that this random woman is kissing Batman?
Well, I don't think it's either. So what I think it is, I think initially she's designed to be Batman's love interest.
Mm-hmm. Boring.
Right. And it was this conflict of like, I can't be Batman and have a girlfriend, which is fucking stupid. But like, like that's literally the entire point of her character. It's that and a little bit of like kind of keying Bruce into the real state of the city, which you don't need her to do because he can just look with his eyes and see it.
Yeah.
He didn't need a different character to do that in the comics. He just saw it because it's Gotham and it's fucking obvious.
His parents, like, were murdered in front of his eyes. I think he realizes there's bad things going on.
Right, and even beyond that, like, he talks as a kid with his parents about how fucked the city is. This knows.
Is also true. Like, it's a whole big thing with him and his dad.
Yeah.
Like, they're close. I don't know if the mother has, like, more than one line. Maybe two. Maybe two when they come out.
Yeah, I think it's like during that scuffle she has a couple lines, but that's it. I don't think she says literally anything else.
Nothing to her son. That's fantastic.
No, she's not a character. She's just not a character.
She's not.
Fun fact, Martha Wayne is not a character in the comics either. She's there. You can read about her in a wiki, but she is not a character. I cannot think of a single fucking thing she's done except die in a gutter. That's not a character, folks. At least Thomas Wayne was a surgeon. He had something. The fuck did she do with her time? I don't know.
She dressed like it was the 1920s and really confused me about when this movie's supposed to take place, because the boy, Bruce, was dressed like he's from the 90s.
Right. And I think when Bruce is a child, it's like 80s? Maybe like early 80s?
I believe that because of the time when this movie was made.
Right, because it was early aughts. It was 2002 or 2003, around that. Maybe a little bit later. But like, so that's like Bruce when he was a kid. Mm-hmm. Bruce becomes Batman in his mid to late 30s, I think. Well, no, because he's in college, or he's college aged by the time Joe Chill is going to be released on probation.
Joe Chill being the one who shot his parents.
Right.
We haven't really actually discussed the plot of this movie.
We'll get into it. And he sees Joe Chill die, and then he leaves for 7 years. So he's college aged. He's probably like 21, 22. Mm-hmm. So he's like early. So he's like about
late
to be
20s, early 30s.
Yeah. So we'll say that. So like late 80s then. But
I will say the architecture, like, beautiful in this movie. There's some really great shots, especially like in the beginning on the train when they're riding to the opera.
Yeah, there's some stylized architecture. There's some like cool visual design choices,
and none of that gets brought into the other movies.
Yeah,
just wasted.
The Narrows is the most visually interesting thing in the trilogy, and it's literally destroyed in this movie.
Yeah.
They just abandoned it. All of the people there, all of the poor and homeless people in the Narrows die and get abandoned.
Yeah, but like Rachel didn't die. That's what mattered, right?
Rachel, Jim,
one random kid that she fucking saved.
The kid who's played by Joffrey Baratheon.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Which was fun to recognize.
I have a lot of opinions about that moment, but we'll get into that.
Right, so let's do a quick synopsis, and there's a reason why we haven't really talked about the synopsis is because there's not much plot here.
I mean, yeah, it's just Batman's origin story.
Batman sees his parents die, he almost kills somebody, then he becomes a criminal in other countries for 7 years. He joins the League of Shadows, League of Assassins. I don't know why they did the fucking name change. It's weird. He goes back to then, but then they're like, oh, we want you to kill this guy who killed his fucking neighbor. And he's like, no. And then he kills the people in the League of Shadows then. He straight up does kill the guy he thinks is the leader. Mm-hmm. And then, like, not like directly, but like the guy, like, enough plausible deniability, but like, he killed him. That's the closest you got to directly killing somebody.
Something else that just occurred to me, like, that guy that they had, like, chained up for Bruce to kill probably died in that fire he caused.
Oh, absolutely. Bruce did not save him.
No, the only one he saved was the guy he was close to, who turned out, spoiler, to be,
Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul. Rachel whatever. They say his name weird. But, like, Also, what about the other League of Shadow members who were in that building
they're
that
also
exploded? Like, probably most of them got out, but several of them died. Bruce created this huge explosion. Definitely killed one person, likely killed two, most likely killed more than that. So, Bruce, you've already got a body count. Good job on that one. You did it. But it doesn't matter because he didn't stab them, I guess. Fucking whatever. So he goes back to Gotham, becomes Batman, shuts down Falcone. They call him Falcone in the movie. It's not the fucking name. It's Falcone.
It makes me think of a calzone.
Yeah.
Like, if they called it calzone.
Oh.
Imagine going up to a fucking...
Well, come on down to Falcone's Calzones.
Oh my god, I hate that. Beautiful.
Yeah. So he does some stuff, finds Scarecrow. Scarecrow's putting fear toxin in the water supply. League of Shadows steals a Wayne Enterprises plot device, which is literally like, there's no reason for them to have made this weapon.
It's really fucking weird.
It's just, it uses microwaves to boil water in a fucking 500-yard radius. Like, cool. That's not that useful.
Okay, that's a weird thing, and also a weird thing for... It's never brought up. What the fuck does Wayne Enterprise do?
Tech.
That's such bullshit.
They mention, you may have forgotten, they mentioned in the movie, like, lately they've been doing a lot of military contracts.
Right. It's just, all of it is nonsense bullshit.
Yeah, it's crazy weapons that no one would actually use.
You just have a tank in the basement that you've archived.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
There's multiple tanks. Because you remember in Dark Knight Rises, they raid Wayne Tech R&D, and there's like 7 tanks.
Why do you have so many tanks?
For a project that was discontinued.
What the fuck is... Oh, God damn it, Wayne Enterprise. It's just, none of the movies like fucking touch on this, but Wayne Enterprise in and of itself is just shady and weird as fuck.
Yeah, it's real bad. It's you know... Bruce, you don't like weapons. You've been making a lot of fucking weapons. It's ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. It's
But yeah, anyway, so they have the microwaves evaporating water
to do the fear toxin very, very suddenly, which is also stupid because they could have just had it so that when you drink the fear toxin, you get affected. And then there's people with fear toxin all over the city, the entire city, because it's the water mains. And like, who's gonna know it's the fucking water?
Yeah.
Because this is fear toxin that people haven't fucking... This is a Scarecrow specialty. Who the fuck knows anything about fear toxin?
I feel like this has been, like, used in the comics somewhere. Probably in, like, one of the animated series as well.
Right.
Probably done better.
Right. So Bruce destroys the only form of public transportation in Gotham, aside from taxis. But, like, he destroys the monorail to stop the microwave emitter.
Right.
So, fuck you, poor people.
Yeah, it's just a real... And it's never shown of, like, him rebuilding it.
He doesn't. It's not in the other movies.
Oh, I never thought about that. That's
and this
really
this is a monorail specifically talked about it's specifically talked about to be a boon for the poor people of the city. They need this, and Thomas Wayne built it because it was going to help them. And then Bruce fucking destroys it and then doesn't rebuild it.
That's bad. See, this is what I mean when, like, the fucking movie just puts a little toe in and then it's like, ooh, no, I can't swim in that.
Right. And then he kills Ra's al Ghul.
Yes.
Fully kills him. Like, not even... Like, I don't think there is any plausible deniability. He says, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. No, Bruce, you killed him.
You've, like, left a man to die is, in essence, killing him.
I think it would be labeled as negligent manslaughter. or like something in that vein.
Probably. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know for certain.
But like in terms of morality, we're not talking about legality here. We're talking about morality.
Oh, morality. Yeah, no, you killed him. But that's okay. Some people need to be murdered. Let's not take that out of context.
Right, but like this is Batman.
Right.
And they make a big deal out of it. Like, if Batman was killing people, I wouldn't care. I didn't care about it in the Zack Snyder films. Whatever. But they make a big deal out of it. It's a focus of the movie.
Right.
They talk about it all the time, and then he kills people. So what was the fucking point?
Yeah, no, it's just, needs to be something more poignant there. But, again, cowards.
Yeah. So that was the plot. Not a lot happens.
Did we miss anything?
Well, details. But like,
no,
what does it matter? Like the fucking, like, the DA gets shot. Rachel doesn't bone Bruce, which is, like, let's be real. If we were Rachel, you bone Bruce once and then break up with him. You want that experience. It's Batman.
Yeah, I mean,
you fuck obviously. Batman once and then you'd be like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Come on.
And then if you're me, you move on to Killer Croc, I guess.
Right. And then the Narrows gets abandoned and never brought up again.
That's fine.
I think that's it. That's really it. Nothing really happens. This city's still fucked. Gordon doesn't get promoted. No, he does get promoted, but it's like
to sergeant or something,
like that. But it's like it's not that big of a deal.
He's
like
not
it doesn't change anything. He can't. He gets like a squad in the next movie, but that's it. And then in The Dark Knight, spoiler alert, his entire squad is corrupt. So it's like it doesn't matter. Which is also, we'll talk about that with Dark Knight, but that's a stupid fucking decision because it's Gordon's squad. You know.
There were some fun moments in this, I will say that. A lot of decisions I didn't like. I wish it wasn't like 2 hours, 20 minutes or whatever.
They should have cut out fucking Ra's al Ghul. Should have cut out the League of Shadows.
I thought you were going to say Rachel and I was going to agree.
They should have cut out Rachel too. But like that's less of a big deal to me.
I just wish that, one, she was written better, and two, she didn't kiss Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I really wish there wasn't the fucking romance thing.
Yeah.
I know I say that a lot about media, but it's like, maybe have better fucking romances. Like, I know these writers, these directors don't understand, good, healthy relationships.
Correct.
So they don't know how to portray it, but they do exist.
Let's go ahead and jump into the remakes because we've spent way too long just bitching about this review.
Well, is there anything else that we want to mention? Oh, there is. Okay, so fucking at the beginning, the bats. The whole thing here is that Bruce is terrified of bats, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like, I don't like that Bruce is like, I'm terrified of bats, so I'm going to spend my entire life surrounding myself in bats and bat iconography for no reason. Like that, I don't love that. Even if it's sort of like I'm transferring my fears to my enemies. No, what?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's good. I just don't think it's a good decision all around. Also, something else I didn't like. There's a little thing in the beginning. Little Rachel and little Bruce are running around because they found a little arrowhead.
Yeah.
It gives off bad vibes because it's like, that belonged to Native American, indigenous people, and now it's these rich white people on the land.
You know why it gives you bad vibes? Because in most movies, when you build a house on top of an Indian burial ground, that movie is a horror movie, and your ass is about to get haunted.
Right, there is that, really popular trope. Right.
So it feels weird that they basically set that up and nothing happens.
I see that, but also it's just I mean, the city is kind of fucking haunted, but no one's really talking about what it's being haunted by, which is colonialism and capitalism.
Yeah. It's
Not everything is the fault of the clown. I mean, let's be real, the Joker, he is at fault for a lot of shit, but he's not the root.
right. It's a mess. It tries, but it can't like succeed on fucking almost anything it talks about. All right, let's talk about remakes. Do you want to go first?
I know that you go first. This was the movie you picked out.
Right. Okay. I'm okay with keeping Rachel in the movie. I feel like I don't think she should be a love interest, but I feel like having like a friendly face in the DA's office who's actively pushing to break down corruption, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Having it be a woman, it's good. I like it. We can keep her. It's fine. And then if you want to fridge her later for fucking Harvey Dent, that's your decision. We're not talking about that movie right now. Ra's al Ghul. I know that Batman being a part of the League of Assassins in the comics is a big deal. And it's very important to like comic foundations. I don't like Ra's al Ghul's presence in this movie. I don't like what the League of Shadows becomes in The Dark Knight Rises. I don't think the purpose for it works. I don't think that there should be this outward pressure that is causing Gotham to crumble. Gotham should be fucked because the people in charge aren't taking care of it. It's the whole point. They're all bought off by these mobsters and horrible people who want to see things get worse. And that's why it's failing, because the people in charge aren't doing anything to stop it. And so Bruce comes back, sees that things are shit, takes on Falcone, takes on Maroni. Well, Maroni's going to show up more in Dark Knight, but like takes on Falcone, takes on Scarecrow, who's popped up, is like a big part of the drug trade, and is like planning something bigger and more sinister and something weird involving this like fear gas, and like that's where you get more into like comic stuff. But like the core message should be the people in charge should care about the citizens and work for their betterment. That should be the point of this movie. And Rachel is a big point in that. Gordon is a big point in that. Both of them, those like the only two people actively trying. And through their attempts at trying, bolstered by Batman's ability to move beyond the barriers the corrupt has set up against them, they inspire others near them to do better. Rachel inspires the DA to do better. Gordon inspires his partner to do better. It doesn't happen in the base movie, but it should. I know he's a fucking corrupt extortionist, but at the end of the movie, he should help Gordon. This should be his growth. Yeah. You know, he shouldn't just be a bad guy. End of story. And Batman, there should be at least one scene of like Batman talking to a gang member and being like sympathetic and not like just immediately beating him to shit. Just being like, you can get out. I will help you get out. I will keep you safe, but you have to stop. And he should accept. And the gang member, it's fine. Maybe he shows up for a cameo in the next movie. It's like, I'm doing better.
You know what? I really like that because it really brings back the whole Joe Chill wasn't trying to maliciously kill his parents.
He was just poor and he needed money by any means possible. And a robbery went bad.
Unfortunately, it happens. Yeah. And like in Gotham, a lot of people are poor. Most people, I would go ahead and say.
Yeah. But like even taking out the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul and this like external pressure against Gotham, not a huge amount changes from the plot. The only thing that really changes is where Scarecrow gets the microwave emitter, which I'll keep because it's comics-esque and it's stupid, but I'm fine with stupid. You know, it leans into Scarecrow's wackiness. It doesn't fit with the fucking Ra's al Ghul League of Shadows grittiness, but it leans into Scarecrow's wackiness. I think that like there would be I think like it would be a cool scene of like Scarecrow just like violently taking over a ship with his fear gas, and then just taking it with his goons. Like that would be cool.
That would be fun.
I would love to see
Yeah.
that. So like, yeah, Scarecrow's the one setting up the plan. He's the one that does that, and then the Narrows gets fucking. I almost said doxed. It's not quite what that is. The Narrows gets gassed, and things are going really bad. But Gordon and Rachel are there helping people out, and they save people's lives, and they help get more people inoculated. Like their presence is like their role in the climax of the movie is helping people calm down and helping individuals be safe. That's the culmination of what they've been doing the entire movie. That's what they should be doing. And then Batman does his Batman stuff. He tracks down Scarecrow. They have a cool little back and forth. Scarecrow's not the most physically intimidating, but like
that's why there's the fear gas.
That's why you have the fear gas, and like Batman could like fight like reflections of himself and like do cool shit. Each have a little cool climactic thing. Also, I know Batmobile is a really big deal in the comics, and it's like in the animated show, and it's like really cool and all that stuff. Batmobile is cool. You shouldn't be crashing through houses and pancaking cop cars. If you really want to try to not kill people, I think like him having like a cool fast car that can do cool things is cool. I think you should not be a tank that is destroying everything it touches.
Yeah, a tank is not a good thing to be driving around
in a
city.
Yeah.
When that happens, it's bad, actually, in real life. And we've seen in the movies, too, even though it's trying to play it off as though it's cool.
Yeah. So, take out League of Shadows, take out Ra's al Ghul, Rachel Dawes is not a love interest. Scarecrow's primary focus, minor focus on Falcone, and then most of everything else is the same. And Bruce just becomes Batman because he stops being a criminal after a while. Like he gets out of that solitary for the whatever, and then he gets released because he's rich. You can give any fucking reason for why he gets released from that prison, and then Alfred picks him up and he's like, I know what I gotta do. I gotta go back to Gotham. I gotta start taking care of things. I've seen how these criminals operate. I've seen how they think, and I've seen the horrible situations they have to deal with, and I've gotta help people like that in Gotham. That's why he comes back. And that just take out League of Shadows. You're good. You're golden. Change some minor things. Rearrange some things. You're good. It's totally fine. It's not that big of a deal.
I like that a lot. I do like Scarecrow being just a bigger thing. Like, give him some more respect. He's a creepy motherfucker.
Yeah.
He deserves to be respected more.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's my remake.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really much else to add. How about you?
Well, let me bring out my notes here. I have a lot of them.
Prepare for a long-winded talk.
Listen.
That's what this fucking podcast is.
This podcast is made just for me to go on long-winded rants about me. So, this is rare, but I'm not going to majorly switch everything up. Plot-wise.
Wow.
Theme-wise, however, we are going to switch things up right off the fucking bat. So we're going to still open up on the kids having found an arrowhead, debating on who gets to keep it. Instead of falling down a fucking dingy old well, they end up at this little bat sanctuary area on the grounds of, the Wayne Manor that Bruce's dad had set up. Maybe they startle the bats who fly at them both, and you still have Bruce take some sort of bad fall, but then his dad is right there comforting both, explaining that people fear bats, but they shouldn't. How important, bats are to the ecosystem. They eat insects, they help with pest control. They pollinate and disperse seeds. Bats are important, yet often misunderstood. See, so we're going to make this a whole big theme.
I feel like there's I think you would have to write it pretty specifically. It would be on the nose, but there's room there for like some tongue in cheek, like I don't know how bats react to scarecrows, but if you can throw in a mention of a scarecrow in that, that's like thematically cool. I think there's room there that would be really cool.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how bats react to scarecrows because you don't often like find bats, as far as I know, trying to go after crops. But also in this scene, I want a shot of Bruce's dad looking sadly at the arrowhead. Like the weight of the blood money that his family fortune is just weighing down on him. And like maybe he tells Bruce something profound about giving and caring and all that good stuff. And Bruce gives Rachel the arrowhead. Because I want Bruce's dad to like at least admit to the audience, yeah, our fortune wasn't made just by us being better. It was made off the bones and blood of other people. So then we have opera night. They're enjoying a great fun evening out. But then as it ends, Bruce's dad notices someone waiting. Like maybe someone he doesn't like or doesn't trust. Someone he doesn't want his family around. Like a monster who's been trying to bribe him or been threatening him. So he figures, back alley it is. Only there's Joe Chill, a guy just hard on his luck, you know? And he knows who the Waynes are and is like, hey, you had enough for that train system. You've got to have some to spare for me. And then he accidentally ends up shooting the parents. And, he runs, leaving poor Bruce with his 2 dead corpses. I meant to say parents. I feel bad about just calling them corpses.
I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah, no, they're corpses now. Sorry, Bruce.
Right, so quick pause on that. So, I'm watching a video on silent with the captions on, which is called What Are Bats Afraid Of? There's no mention of scarecrows. It talks a lot about snakes and the cold, which is interesting, I guess, but there's no mention of scarecrows. I can't find anything, but I think that there is still room in that, like, earlier conversation where, like, where, like, you can mention something about, like, scarecrows not scaring. I think, like, that would be enough. Or it's like, because Thomas is, like, throwing out, like, a little, like, oh, here's some interesting things about bats.
Here's some bat facts, everyone.
Yeah, and all this other stuff. It could work.
Yeah, no, we could find something, like maybe one of the kids will be like, will a scarecrow scare them off? And the dad will be like, no. They're much too smart for that shit.
Oh, yeah.
But in nicer words, because they're like 8.
Right. But, like, I feel like even if it is really on the nose, it's worth it to put that in there.
It's worth it because this is a fucking comic book movie.
Yeah.
Bring back the wacky. Next, we're cutting to the courthouse, where Bruce really does want to kill Joe Chill. In his mind, right at this moment, he believes once a criminal, always a criminal. However, Falcone, still gets someone to shoot Joe first. Then, the whole he and Rachel driving. But instead of slapping this distraught man with a gun, Rachel points out that justice is about reform, not revenge. Points out how the city is teeming with purposeful disadvantages that breed crime. Makes him see, that Joe should not have shot his parents, and it was a senseless waste of life. Joe is not absolved of all crime, but he wasn't the root of it. And, she reveals how she knows he's paid off most of the cops in the city. Falcone. And shit is bad. Just have her point out, like, okay, you've been away at college for a while. Shit is bad in Gotham. And we know the root cause of it. It's not what happened to your parents, I'm sorry. So we're still going to have the scene of Bruce confronting Falcone, getting kicked out, yada yada. And then he sees a homeless man and decides to just give him his whole ass jacket and all the money in his wallet because Rachel's words are sinking into him. He has to do something for the people in Gotham. So then we can have the whole Bruce trying to figure out justice and how to dispense it, learning all he can, etc. I don't want him to just disappear, however, like without a word to anyone. I want him to stage it like, oh, I'm a rich boy going all around on a fancy adventure, don't wait up. Because, like, it is so hard to come back from the dead once you've been declared legally dead.
Yeah.
Like, look it up, people. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
One of my fears, my very irrational fears, is to be somehow declared legally dead when I'm still alive and, like, have to fight for, like, to be reinstated as alive. I know that's not a normal, rational fare. I know, but it's bad, people.
Yeah.
Anyway, in my version, he can still join up with the League, all that good stuff. He's not going to end up in prison just for messing with Wayne Enterprise goods for the fuck of it, though, okay? Maybe he thinks something is fishy about them, but he doesn't know what. And maybe he's so close to figuring something shady out, but then he just gets arrested. Poking where he shouldn't be. Not just him trying to steal his own company's stuff as though that's still not a crime. Yeah, he's still gone for 7 years, but not declared dead. Maybe he's been, declared missing for the last few months or something. And Alfred's been keeping up appearances different fake correspondences so Bruce won't get declared dead because, again, legally it is hard to prove there was an error but you're still alive. So Alfred's keeping up appearances, 1, out of hope, 2, to stop the one white dude in charge from taking over completely. I don't remember the dude's name. He kind of looked like Falcone to me. That may just because they were both old white men. So eventually Bruce does come back, makes it seem like there was a traveling snafu, but rest assured he's fine and dandy. And he does the whole, I'm just a fun rich boy himbo, let me throw my money around and have women hanging off either arm. Meanwhile, he's starting up Batman. He's got a plan in motion. And now, I want a montage of Bruce making the weapons himself. Not just this convenient tank in the fucking basement of his father's enterprise, okay?
Lucius Fox giving him toys to play with.
Right, maybe he still meets up with Lucius and it's like, hey, I have some plans, for this weird tech, let's keep this between you and me. And Fox, is just like, yeah, you know what? I'll go along with this, what the fuck ever. Okay, but we need something stronger than just randomly, conveniently finding all this stuff already made. Show Bruce being crafty and tactical and determined. And yeah, no, of course we're gonna have Lucius there still because he's amazing. And also, Bruce decides on Batman not because, ooh, yeah, this is the thing I'm afraid of, so I'm gonna make everyone else afraid of. He's gonna see his father's old bats, because Alfred is still taking care of them.
Yeah.
And he remembers the discussion about people fearing them, but they eat pests. They're important to the ecosystem. So he realizes that's what's missing from Gotham's ecosystem.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's fucking good shit, isn't it?
Oh.
Fucking love it. It's thematic bullshit.
There's theming, there's on-the-nose writing, and then there's that. I'll allow it.
Goddamn right, because it's that good. So structurally, not a lot else changes in the middle. Falcone is running amok, Scarecrow, devious, creepy little bastard. Rachel is doing her best working within a corrupt system. She does need a line somewhere where she mentions this, though. A sort of, when the whole system is corrupt, how do you fight it from within? Can one person even make any sort of difference alone? So then we have this theme of no one is really working alone here, that's how you achieve success. And, it's more poignant when Batman, I almost said Bruce, Batman, Rachel, and Gordon are, all working together. They're not alone.
Yeah.
They're small, but they're not alone. And that's important to Batman. Another minor change is that Rachel, I need her to not be so ridiculous, especially by following Crane down to the creepy-ass basement. She knows the city is corrupt, she does not like Crane, nor does she trust him, but she's going to follow him down to a creepy basement, where he then attacks her. Why would you do that? Make it like a struggle in the elevator, where Crane barely succeeds, and it's only because he, gets her with the gas. Make it fucking make sense. Don't just make her stupid.
Yeah.
So those are, the major changes structure-wise. Something else, though, that needs to be added is the Wayne family fortune's backstory. You know, let's hear Ra's al Ghul go, hey, your family's riches are originally from fucking over others like indigenous people and the poor. Your father's attempts to rectify that were pathetic. He didn't have the stomach to really face the truth. So Batman has to grapple with that while stopping the big master plan. Which, goes down about the same. I do hate the train being destroyed and then never brought back.
Yeah.
So maybe if the train does get, destroyed here, Bruce is going to, instantly put money back into that, and he's going to have a whole new system, make it better than ever. And something else that does need to change about this scene, and we talked about it briefly, so Rachel in the movie, she goes to the Narrows, and then there's just this random kid there that she, spends the whole time protecting, and it's just... I'm tired of this... There's this particular trope where a woman finds some lost kid and has to protect them. The writers can't think of anything to do with her, except, oh, she's a woman, she has to have a maternal instinct. That's just boring.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good.
If you're gonna make her protect this one kid, I like what you were saying about, her and Gordon trying to protect individual people. That would be okay, but just this one fucking kid, it's bad. It's just a bad trope. It's lazy writing. It's trying to, tug at our heartstrings, but it's no.
Right.
There's so much else going on. Why would I care about this one kid we don't know? He had one line earlier because he saw Batman.
He saw Batman and his parents were arguing. That's how you know he's in a bad home.
Right, and he's poor, so great.
See, what I would have loved is that if that ended up being Robin.
Oh my god, that'd be so good.
That would be great. Not what ended up happening.
Because these movies are cowards and won't give us a real Robin.
Yeah.
Give us the Bat family on film again, you fucking cowards.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So no more of that boring and creative shit. She needs to be more vital to helping save the day if she's going to be a part of this fucking movie. And again, then it ties back to the whole theme of one person can't do it alone. You've got to organize. Get with your community. Organize against the cops. In the movie, I mean, of course. So together, they all save the day. Rachel does not kiss Batman because boo. Don't kiss Batman. Men and women can be just friends, despite what Hollywood must think.
Mm-hmm.
I know they think women are just sexual gratification, but I swear to you, it's not the case. And that's it. That is my take on Batman Beyond the Dark Knight. I forgot the name of this movie.
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. That's
because it's his origin story. Did you get it? Did you understand, babe? Did you get what they were doing with that title? Did you understand?
So that's my thoughts on Batman Beyond the Dark Knight. Better title. You're welcome, Nolan.
It's not.
It's not.
Not for this movie.
No. It would be a cool, think of one of those fake documentaries, but with Batman, and it's called Beyond the Dark Knight. Oh my god, I'd love that! Bonus points if the documentary is actually being shot by, the Joker.
No, because there's several journalist characters.
Well, okay, yeah, let's bring, okay.
There's
Make it
there's one that I automatically comes to mind, but it's Superman's. But there is one in Gotham. What the fuck is his name?
No, wait, Jimmy Olsen's Superman.
That's Superman, yeah.
Fuck.
It's what came to my mind, too.
My first thought was Lois Lane, but also...
there's Vicky Vale, but there's another one I'm thinking about as well.
Has Vicky Vale ever been in any of the movies? So there we go. Let's have a movie, it's a fake documentary style.
Iris West Allen works for the Gotham Gazette.
But yeah, so have a little fake documentary, with a real fucking reporter. But then in the middle of it, the Joker comes in and he's like, let me help you. And who can say no to that?
A lot of people.
Well, they can say no, but they shouldn't, because that's not going to end well for them.
Fair enough. So, those are our thoughts. Despite how much we bitched, we did enjoy Batman Begins. It's definitely better than Dark Knight Rises. I'll definitely say that.
I mean, I will say I did have a good time. I did have issues with it. I know I had a lot of complaints, but overall, it was a decent movie.
We see the cliff ahead of us, and we know that we're going to have a very bad ending, but we're enjoying the ride so far.
Yes.
So thank you all for joining us on this podcast of Did You Want Better. If you like these ideas and you would like to remake this movie, Christopher Nolan, if you personally are watching, sure, go ahead and do it. Do it, you fucking coward. I know you will. Do it.
Hey, Nolan, if you're listening, come talk to me. I want to do a Killer Croc movie.
I don't think Chris would actually want to do another Batman.
Chris?
We want
Can
to
I call you Chris?
We want to talk to James Gunn for this.
Okay.
For Killer Croc, you talk to James Gunn.
Hey, James Gunn, come here. Talk to me. Talk to me about Killer Croc. It's going to be 3 movies. The third one is going to be softcore porn.
Yeah, James, we know that you're low-key a monster fucker. We've got some ideas for you. You're not Guillermo del Toro level, but we saw the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
We know what's up.
No, I take it back. It's going to be a trilogy. The first one's going to be softcore. The second one's going to be hardcore. And the third one is going to be illegal to show in the United States of America.
So just give us a call. Shoot us an email. We'll talk about it in more detail. We've got ideas. And it involves a lot of scaly monster fucking. So, but
this is what America needs right now.
Yeah, but in terms of Batman, if anybody wants to do Batman, I guess you can do this. But there are better stories that are Batman-esque. You can just leave that character alone now. He's had his time. He's had his time, and we can move on.
Let's go I don't know, maybe 5 years without a major Batman movie.
I could go 10. I can go a full decade.
I mean, I'd love a full decade.
Let's go 5 years. In the meantime, let's have an actually good Green Lantern movie.
Oh, I have ideas about a Green Lantern movie.
Let's explore. Let's properly explore Martian Manhunter. And let's think about what's his name? Plastic Man?
Oh my god, yes! Let's have a fucking Plastic Man movie, you cowards!
And have it, let's do
If Ant-Man got his own movie twice, Plastic Man can get one of his own.
Yeah, he's a great one.
Oh, and maybe if someone could do the Fantastic Four, but have it not be miserable?
Wait, but that's Marvel. We're not talking Marvel.
Is it Marvel? It is Marvel.
Fantastic Four was their first thing.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get it confused.
So
I do like comics.
Yeah. We're gonna go now.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Goodbye. And again, James Gunn,